Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in this world. This is John West, back again with Japanese Business and Economy. Yes, John West back again with Japanese Business and Economy. And so now we're going to look at the third section of Class 6, Class 6C. We'll be looking at the issue of Japan and global value chains. In particular, we're going to be looking at the issue of Japan's hidden champions in global value chains. Firstly, what do we mean by a global value chain? Apple's iPhone is a classic example of a value chain, global value chain. I always ask my students in Tokyo, where do you think your iPhone was made? And they always respond, China. No, it's not quite as simple as that. Indeed, it's much more complex. The iPhone is assembled in China by Taiwanese companies Foxconn and Pegatron, but that assembly process only accounts for around 5 to 10% of the iPhone's manufacturing value added. The iPhone is actually produced through a global value chain, which starts in California with the conception and design of the iPhone. Then we have high-tech components that come from Japan, Korea, Germany, Taiwan, and the US. Then it's all assembled and put together in China. One consequence of this is that Apple directly employs only 63,000 of the more than 750,000 people globally involved in designing, selling, manufacturing, and assembling its products. Now, Japan's hidden champion in the iPhone, as you can see in this picture here, is the company Murata. Murata Manufacturing is a Japanese manufacturer of electronic products based in Kyoto. And you see it here on the map. So let's learn a little bit about Murata.
A global leader in electronics innovation, Murata has turned ideas into reality for over 70 years. Today, our components, modules, and technologies are at the heart of the world's most cutting-edge products. From mobile phones to home appliances and to the cars we are driving. Akira Murata, a brilliant, hardworking scientist, founded the company in 1944, a challenging time in history. His vision, to enhance society through technology, has been realized throughout the decades, and is still Murata's philosophy today, keeping us focused on research and development for tomorrow. You might not see us every day, but we are all around you, enabling your most trusted electronic devices from within, on your wrist, inside your smartphone, helping you at work, around your home, in your life, and throughout your world. Murata products enable new technologies to keep you in touch, drive and live safer, save energy, and help you keep things running a little more smoothly. And while our technologies work tirelessly, Murata people all over the world keep innovating to contribute to the advancement of a safer, healthier, and more efficient society. Murata, innovator in electronics.
So there we have it, Murata, which is a world champion in electronic components. Now, if you ask my students in Tokyo, or in fact, almost every Japanese person, have you ever heard of Murata? No, no one's heard of it, because Murata is a hidden champion. It makes very high-tech, very important products, but these are components that go into other products. But it's a very important part of the Japanese economy, this capacity to produce high-tech components for a whole range of different products. Now, Huawei, the very important Chinese smartphone maker and electronic company, it also relies on Murata for components. As you can see in this pie chart, 22% comes from Murata. Now, today, in today's world, today's economy, there are very few products that are still made in just one country. Most products are made in the world with different parts and components coming from different countries and different production processes located in different countries. This is very different from the world in the 1970s and 1980s, when Toyota produced most of its cars inside Japan. Now, why have global value chains developed in the way they have? What are the main factors that have facilitated the development of global value chains? Firstly, there is trade and investment liberalisation. Especially in East Asia, but other parts of the world too, governments have reduced the barriers to international trade and investment, which has made the development of value chains much easier. It's much easier to export and import components and other things between different countries. In some countries, in fact, many countries, they've established special economic zones where doing business is made much easier. And when business is easier to do, it's easier for value chains to develop. Another factor is declining transport costs. As we've seen in these value chains, different components are transported from one country to another. The finished product transferred from one country to another. So declining transport costs have played a very important role. The falling costs of passenger aviation, of travel by plane, have made it easier for managers and engineers to travel between different countries. So Apple's engineers can easily travel to China or Taiwan or Japan because the cost of travel is so much easier. And lastly, a very important thing which has been critical to the development of global value chains is information technology. Today's value chains are very, very complex, with all sorts of components coming from all sorts of different countries. And this means that you have a very complex process of coordination, which is necessary. All the different processes have to be coordinated together, so we end up with just one iPhone at the end. And so information technology, a very critical factor in the development of global value chains. Now, there are many other surprising examples of global value chains which highlight the role of Japan as the engine room of today's global value chains. For example, Japan's high-tech parts and components are used in Boeing's planes. Have a look at this image here on the screen. You'll see the wing of this Boeing plane comes from Mitsubishi in Japan. The Ford fuselage comes from Kawasaki in Japan. The center wing box from Fuji in Japan. Lithium ion batteries from Yuasa in Japan. And let me look, lithium ion batteries again from Yuasa in Japan. Main landing gear, wheel well, from Kawasaki in Japan. The fixed trailing edge from Kawasaki in Japan. So this Boeing plane, which is the pride of America in many ways, America is very proud of the fact that Boeing is a leading aviation company. But so many of the components inside this Boeing plane come from Japan. And so it's another example of Japan's hidden champions, champions of global value chains, which make a very important contribution to the Japanese economy. So that's just a quick overview of Japan's contributions to global value chains. Obviously, Japanese companies like Toyota, like Nissan, like Panasonic, like Sony, lead their own global value chains in all parts of Asia and the rest of the world. And Japan's role as a global value chain leader is very important, an important part of the economy. But at the same time, Japan also plays another role as a high-tech component and part producer, and with these hidden champions, hidden products being part of the products of other companies. And we see this particularly through the smartphone, through Apple's smartphone, through Huawei, and so on, and also through the planes of Boeing. So thank you very much for joining me for this short session on the role of Japan in global value chains. If you have any questions, reactions, comments to this short lecture, please send me an email. I'll be delighted to receive it. Otherwise, in mid-January, we can discuss this issue together when we have our student discussion sessions. For the moment, let me say sayonara.